Coming up, Galena police say a truck crossed lanes of oncoming traffic before crashing and overturning.
Got another round now moving in from the south. One more rainy day ahead. We've got the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And artists in Joplin provide a map to the city's past while looking to the future.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, the rain continues.
Going to be more lack of sunshine, more rain coming down. Now, we're not starting off as intense as what we were yesterday, but tell you what, out to the west, once again, is where we're going to see a large one move in from the south. We're also seeing almost 2 separate bands with a break from the west into the central, and then we've got this one jockeying the state line, making its way through southwest Missouri, pretty much up I-49 right now. Here are the changes as far as our flood advisories go. We've lifted those for the western part of southeast Kansas now, down through southwest Missouri with Newton, a little sliver of Jasper, McDonald, and Berry County, all with flood advisories until 11:15. And of course, we're still rolling our separate river ones for the Neosho, the Osage, and the Little Osage. Give you an idea of what is down to the south, and while it's not as intense as what we saw yesterday, it will continue to keep on filtering up from the Red River through OKC and then making its way toward us before it finally will push off to the east. Temperatures right now over 7th and Rangeline, 62 degrees with the rain coming down, and not a whole lot of differential in temperatures. It's pretty much 58 to 62 is what we're seeing. As we work through the afternoon hours, here we go, it keeps on rolling in, and then tonight is when we get a western stall out, and instead of continuing out to the north, watch this thing just decide I'm going to push right back through the 4 states and move from west to east before we finally begin to clear out Thursday afternoon. After that, the warm-up begins. Still looking at a great Memorial Day weekend, but Tanya, pretty much still a day and a half left of rain.
All right, well, we are almost through it, and then we'll be in for a great weekend.
Slowly but surely.
We can do it.
At least we're not seeing the yellow, red, and orange that we saw yesterday. More shower activity for this morning.
Remember last year, Memorial Day, like that weekend was pretty chilly.
It was.
Yeah, really chilly.
The majority of our rain last year was March. We just decided to shift it by 2 months and just drop everything in May this year.
It should turn out to be a nice weekend. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a pickup in Galena crosses all lanes of oncoming traffic before overturning. On Tuesday afternoon, authorities responded to a truck crash in Galena near 7th and Shimmerhorn. Officers say the pickup was traveling eastbound on 7th, crossed all lanes of oncoming traffic, then went off-road and struck 2 culverts before overturning. The driver was transported to Freeman West in Joplin with unknown injuries. This is a developing story. KOAM will post updated information on our website as it becomes available. The mother of a Joplin High School student who died after an asthma attack during a football practice in 2019 sues some school staff. Authorities say Caden Roberts Day passed away on September 4th, 2019 from cardiac arrest caused by the asthma attack. Football team was practicing inside a Joplin High School gymnasium because of intense heat that day. Officials say Caden had a history of severe asthma, but was cleared by a doctor to play sports. And now his mother, LaShonda Roberts, is suing several staff members at the time for wrongful death. Lawsuit alleges school staff did not act quickly enough to help Caden. Surveillance images in the suit show Caden apparently hunched over, trying to catch his breath. Lawsuit also alleges he was unconscious for 2 minutes before 911 was called and that the school did not follow its policies. We've reached out to the school for comment but have not heard back, and you can read more about the suit on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Arkansas holds its state primaries on Tuesday, and some of the races voted on include governor and a U.S. Senate seat. On the Republican side of the governor's race, former White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders wins the nomination by a large margin. On the Democratic side, Chris Jones wins that nomination easily, taking 72% of the vote in that race. And in the race for Republican nomination to fill the U.S. Senate seat currently held by John Boozman, the incumbent wins that race. And for the Democrats, Natalie James is the frontrunner for the nomination. She currently has 58% of the vote. You can find the latest results for these races and others in Arkansas on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Local foundation makes big donations to some area organizations. The Joplin Regional Community Foundation's Philanthropic Society handed out $50,000 grants to 3 organizations in different categories. One category was housing. That grant went to Loving Grace. In the category of barriers to work and prosperity, Higher Power Garage was chosen. And Jasper County CASA won the grant for community health.
We're blessed to be able to add to our staff at Higher Power Garage. We're adding a client manager to be able to follow our clients from application all the way through the process to the repair, and then follow up afterwards to find out how we've impacted them and how we can serve them further with resources.
The grant winners were announced at a private luncheon hosted by the foundation. An organization dedicated to preserving the historic Murfreesburg district of Joplin celebrates the completion of a hand-drawn map of the area. Historic Murfreesburg Preservation, Inc. commissioned local artist Paula Giltner to illustrate the map. Another local, Patty Shade, produced a key for the map to educate viewers about points of interest. The map will be used to promote heritage tourism in the area.
When I first saw an architectural rendering when I was a teenager, I thought, that's what I want to do. And sure enough, the opportunity came up for me. So I did that for many years.
People yesterday were able to receive an autographed copy of the map and learn about how it was made. Well, it's wine o'clock all day today. Pour yourself a glass of red or white to celebrate National Wine Day. Maybe you'd prefer rosé instead. Wine is made from fermented grapes or other fruits. It's a myth that the color of the grape determines the wine's color. It's actually tannins or biomolecules in the fruit skins that color the wine. All right.
Sing a little Scenes from an Italian Restaurant by Billy Joel.
I'm just thinking about all our 4-state wineries out there that should be celebrating today for
Starts
National
off
Wine
with,
Day.
well, we got Italian restaurants too. So you can go bottle of red, bottle of white.
Yep.
All right, 2 bands of rain, 1 out to the west and 1 there in the central portion. At least these are just showers. No lightning, and we've been able to avoid the heavy rain. But once again, coming off of what we've had for the last 2 days, it would be nice just to get a break. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen for some time, as the rain's going to persist for most of our Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll get sporadic breaks. Temperatures in the mid to high 60s. And really, by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, then we can call her good.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Diamond Wildcats hit the field for a shot at their first ever softball championship against Skyline. We've got the highlights coming up in sports. Plus, a video of one little slugger stepping up to the plate goes viral. You'll know why when you see it. And basic swimming and water safety skills can reduce your risk of drowning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
2 of our teams playing for state titles in Southwest Missouri. First up, Diamond Wildcats hit the field against Skyline, aiming to bring home the Class II state championship. Diamond looking for its first ever state title. Skyline trying to make it back-to-back championships. Tigers strike first when Grace Edge with a 2nd inning home run off the foul pole in left field. Skyline up 1-0. But Diamond then rips off 6 straight runs, including 4 in the 7th. This 3-run bomb to straightaway center from Lexi Bridges breaks it open. Diamond leads 6-1. Skyline's defending champs. They're not going down easily. With 2 runs already in, a single scores 1 more. But Caitlin Surrey saves another one with an absolute rifle from center field. Diamond wins it 6-4. Congratulations to the Wildcats on their first ever state championship. In Class 1, the Jasper Eagles hit the field yesterday afternoon against Wellington Napoleon. Eagles fall to 7-2 the final score. Jasper finishes with a great season. The Class 1 state runner-up, a 16-10 overall record. This week's a big one for Crowder College as the baseball team hit the road to Grand Junction, Colorado, their second straight appearance in the Junior College World Series. Meanwhile, Crowder softball also in the national tournament, playing their first game in Yuma, Arizona. Rough Riders, the 10 seed, up against number 7 seeded McLennan. Long story short for Crowder, McLennan comes up big inside the circle, shuts out the Rough Riders by a final score, 6-0. Columbus Titans will be making their first ever appearance in the 3A state baseball tournament later this week. Titans, the 3 seed in the state bracket, facing 6-seeded Sabetha on Thursday. This all takes place in Manhattan. Columbus heads into the state tournament with a 20-2 overall record. Their only 2 losses coming to Girard and Frontenac. Girard, by the way, in the 3A state bracket as well. For Columbus, their first time going to state is a new experience, so they're trying to keep things loose.
There's a lot of focus, but we're just having fun with it. Coach Ted's never made it this far, and none of us have either, so we're having a lot of fun with it. He was saying that his arm was hurting a couple days ago because he has never made it this far, but we're just having a lot of fun with it, but we're staying focused and worried about winning games out there.
We've had a lot of good baseball players come through Columbus, but our league and our regional has just been so dang tough. It's great. The community support has been so awesome. I got great assistant coaches in Troy Harity and Taylor Spear, and they help me a lot keep these kids focused, and they'll be ready.
Unfortunately, Kansas High School State Golf cut a little short. 2-day tournaments across the state being cut to just 1 day because of our weather. Still plenty of our players placing at state. Chanute's Drayton Cleaver. He won the 4A individual state championship, shooting a 2/74. In Class 3A, Neodesha's Kyle Egger finishes 5th. Then we had 2 top 10 finishers in Class 2. Colgan's Nick Eisen takes 5th. Yates Center's Jack King right behind him in 6th. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, Jessica Palmer from Loving Grace and Regina Hammonds from Joplin Leadership Class of 2022 hit the studio to talk about a community fundraiser that you can take part in, maybe win yourself a brand new laptop in the process, and to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Welcome back. I've got 2 lovely guests in this morning to talk about a wonderful fundraising opportunity. 2 organizations teaming up together, Loving Grace and Leadership Joplin Class of 22. Here to join us, we have Jessica Palmer and Regina Hammonds. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Let's get started talking a little bit about the 2 organizations. Loving Grace, let's start with that.
Yes, so Loving Grace is a transitional home for young women. We've been in Joplin for about 8 years, functioning as a transitional living facility. We serve young women that are aging out of foster care, who are homeless, young women who are abandoned by critical support systems. And just in August, we opened our 2nd home for young women that are pregnant or parenting a small child. The age group we serve is about 17 to 24. We provide case management, housing, nutrition. We provide for them opportunities for getting a job. We work with local agencies to get them all the services that they need, whether they might have a disability and they may need some help with that. And then we also provide for them educational opportunities. So if they need to finish their high school education, which is very common when they come in, they have not finished. And so we'll work with the Joplin High School or whatever school they've come from. We'll also work with NALA. That's another wonderful organization that we work with. We work with several community organizations to help them get the resources they need to get on their own 2 feet again. That's kind of the point, is we want them to graduate our program and be able to live in the community and have community around them, whether it be from a church or a volunteer organization. We want them to have, once they leave our program, to have people surrounding them and cheering them on as they go out and live their life in this awesome community.
All right. And you need to have these partner organizations.
Absolutely.
And let's real quickly talk about Leadership Joplin and what you guys do, and then how you guys are helping Loving Grace.
So Leadership Joplin is a class that you take that you've been accepted into their program. So it's like a 12-week course, and it's young men, or not young because I'm not young, but it's men and women.
Of course you are.
It's men and women who want to emerge as leaders in our community. So we do all different kinds of things throughout the 12-week course. We learn, public safety. We do communication day. We do all these different days and get to go around in our community and see what our community leaders do, and they come and talk to us.
Is Leadership Joplin, do they do this class every year? Or
Yes.
is this class currently going on, or did you just graduate?
No, we don't graduate until June, so it's currently going on. And one of our things that we had to do was do a service project. We've got a couple that we're doing. We're doing one at Wildcat Glades. As part of us are doing that, and then the other part of us are helping Loving Grace and doing the welcome bags for them.
Okay. Let's talk about this fundraiser and what you guys need from the community to help with this.
Yeah.
So we decided that we asked them, what their needs were. We came up with a welcome bag, which is really going to be really cool because I think it comes tenfold because we visited the prison in Jeff City, and part of one of the workshops that the prisoners do, one of their things that they do is they make bags.
Okay.
So we're getting the bags from the prison to give to these young ladies, and they're going to be filled with, shampoo, full-size shampoos, deodorant, socks, underwear, razors, all the things that you think that you may need to get started because, like Jessica said, some of these people don't, they come in with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so we felt like it was, a great project. And so we're asking the community. We've set up several boxes around the community, and, we're just asked them to, donate some items.
Okay. And yes, we have a list of drop-off locations that you can drop off. There's 2 Southwest Missouri Bank locations. There's several at Arvest Bank, Athena Marketing and Advertising. Of course, at Loving Grace, which is located on Euclid Avenue in Joplin.
Yes, 1408 Euclid.
And Joplin Chamber of Commerce is one, Missouri Southern State University, and we'll have all of those up there. And of course, you can always go back online on our website at koamnewsnow.com and check out these locations again as well. And we went over some of the items that you guys need, but those are things that we take for granted that we have, and it's.
Absolutely. I mean, many of our girls come in with the clothes on their back, and that's all they have, sometimes no shoes. So as soon as they come in, we like to be able to provide them with whatever they need in order to just rest. The first week that a Loving Grace girl comes in and is a resident with us, we want them to rest. We want them to have the time to learn how to get on a bedtime routine, to learn how to have just a daily routine, but starting with just lots of sleeping, because so many come in with a complex trauma. And so just being in a room with the door closed can be a lot for a young lady. Sleeping under the covers instead of on top can be a lot for a young lady who's experienced some complex trauma. So just getting used to being there, if they have everything they need, that's just one less thing to worry about. Now, of course, we're providing food, we're providing a safe place for them to sleep, and then transportation to whatever appointments we need to make for them or that they have made for themselves so that they have everything they need to be successful in our program.
There you go. And you guys also have a big Schools Out Bash coming up that we wanted to talk about on Saturday, June 4th.
Yes, we're so excited to just provide this for the community. We've been in the Royal Heights neighborhood for 8 years, and some of the residents know who we are and what we do, but oftentimes they drive by and think, I don't know what Loving Grace is. So we're so excited to just go up to Humphrey Park in the same neighborhood, invite the community out to come and just enjoy free food, inflatables, face painting. We'll have epic drives there to show off their cars. We'll have some dessert trucks that'll come, and they'll provide desserts for people if they would like to purchase those. And we just want to provide a fun, relaxed atmosphere for families to just learn about Loving Grace, but also just come together and enjoy being together and doing all the fun activities that we have.
So we are a community.
Yes, exactly. We will have some wonderful raffle baskets. We're excited to raffle those off. So if you would like to purchase those tickets in advance, you can go to our Facebook page and you can purchase those in advance. There'll be a date night basket, a summer fun basket, a family fun basket, and then a gift card basket. And those are filling up with some amazing prizes. So please do get your raffle tickets and come that day prepared to buy some. It'll be fun.
So do you need to be present to win those raffles?
You don't have to be present to win. And our largest raffle, I forgot to mention, there will be a laptop computer, a brand new laptop that will be raffled off as well. So please do come and have a great time and be ready to just celebrate a wonderful organization that's helping young women in our community.
All right, that sounds like a lot of fun. Of course, we'll have information on that up on our website as well. And again, that's Saturday, June 4th from 11 to 2 at Humphrey Park in Joplin. One thing I forgot to ask you, how long are you guys collecting these donations for Loving Grace?
It's about mid-June. mid-June. So you can drop at any of those locations. Or if you need to call, or if they can make a monetary donation on Living Grace website as well.
Oh, yeah.
If they don't want to pick up an item. And then there is an Amazon wish list as well, right?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
those items can be shipped directly to Living Grace if they'd like to do that as well. We're happy to accept it that way. And you can find that Amazon link also on our Facebook page.
All right. Well, thank you too for
Well, thank
so much
you.
for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Hope you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Same to you.
We'll be right back. Topping Health Watch this morning, it's a major public health issue that's preventable. Drowning is a leading cause of death in children ages 1 to 4. Mandy Gaither has more on how to keep kids safe as the weather gets warmer.
It can happen quickly and without a sound. Anyone can drown anytime water is around.
The magnitude of this problem is enormous.
Dr. Purva Grover, medical director of Cleveland Clinic Children's Pediatric Emergency Department, says basic swimming and water safety skills can reduce the risk of drowning. Small children should stay within arm's reach, but even children who have had swim lessons still need supervision in the water. Never ask older children to be responsible for younger kids. Grover says to designate a water-watching adult.
Not distracted, not on their iPhones, not having a drink or a gathering, but completely focused on your children.
Safe Kids Worldwide says kids should know these water survival skills: how to step or jump into water over their head and return to the surface, turning around in the water and getting to safety, floating or treading water, combining breathing with forward movement, and they should know how to exit the water. Life jackets can be used by weaker swimmers of all ages at the pool, in lakes, or at beaches, but don't depend solely on that gear, and learning CPR can save a life.
When these kids then come to the emergency department after a drowning event, good CPR at site can make all the difference for them.
Pools should have fences fully enclosing them and move chairs or other furniture that could allow a child to be able to get over the fence. Also, remove toys that may attract children to the pool. There are a lot of reasons people want to lose weight, but the number one reason, your health. If that's not the answer you expected, you're not the only one. Folks at the Mayo Clinic say they think there may be a new movement in weight loss, more focused on improving things like blood pressure and cholesterol rather than chasing after some idealized beach bod. Their new survey shows 83% of people looking to lose weight are more motivated by their health than anything else. That's 5 times more than people who said they were motivated by physical appearance. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Showers out to the west, then a break, and then showers rolling right along I-49. It's not as heavy, certainly, as what it was yesterday. Temperatures right now in the high 50s, low 60s. Remember, we're a long way from being over. It continues to roll in from the south with intermittent breaks throughout today. But it really won't be until Thursday afternoon that we are all said and done with the rain. Memorial Day weekend still looking great. Plenty of sunshine and highs up into the 80s. We'll talk about flood advisories when we return right after this.
Coming up, Galena police say a truck crossed lanes of oncoming traffic before crashing and overturning.
Oh, we got another morning of rain rolling in from the south. We've got additional flood advisories to talk about as well with the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And artists in Joplin provide a map to the city's past while looking to the future.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:33. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's check in with Michael and the rain.
Tanya, of course, yesterday morning where we had the rain dominating southeast Kansas overnight, we saw the flip and saw the majority of it roll through southwest Missouri. Now we've got a split where it's starting to pick up once again on our far western counties. Now the flood watches have been lifted for these western counties as of right now, but we've got a lot more still to come right out of Oklahoma, and we've got a band of showers riding I-49 through southwest Missouri. Speaking of southwest Missouri, that's where we find our Wednesday morning flood advisories for a little sliver of Jasper, Newton, McDonald, and Berry County. Throw Stone County in there as well. And then we've got our river-specific ones still in effect for the Neosho down by Miami and Commerce, and then the Osage and Little Osage up to the north in Vernon County. Give you an idea of what's still to come down from the south. We got plenty more action that's headed our way. So it's still raining over 7th and Range Line. 62 degrees is where we stand right now. Really, temperatures very close together, anywhere from about 56 to 63 degrees. This gives you an idea as the Gulf moisture works its way from Texas through Oklahoma and Arkansas. It just keeps on coming up on us. Now, this is a key factor here for tonight because instead of moving up to the north, it wants to stall out right to the west of us. And instead of just dissipating, it throws the brakes on and says, I'm going to continue from west to east through Thursday morning. Well, look at that counterclockwise motion it has. That's why it's able to hang on, throw back on itself until we get into Thursday afternoon / early evening. 7-day forecast after we do break it up. Friday is going to be a little warm. Actually, that'd just be about seasonable, but when you've been riding 60s, that's what 74 is going to feel like. And looking at a great Memorial Day weekend, just about 36 more hours of rain here.
All right, well, yeah. Get through the rain, we're in for a great time.
We're getting there. Like I said, let's call ourselves lucky those flood watches were removed out of southeast Kansas when we're picking up, we're already sitting at 2.5 inches in some places, especially along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, Michael. A Jasper County, Missouri judge sentences a St. Louis woman to prison for robbing a Joplin store at knife point. Authorities say in January of last year, Tiffany Madison was at the Academy Sports and Outdoors on South Range Line in Joplin when she was confronted by a store employee for concealing merchandise. Police say she then grabbed a knife from a shelf and threatened the employee with it, then left the store and was later arrested. Madison pled guilty to a robbery charge and yesterday was sentenced to 10 years in prison. May is National Historic Preservation Month, and there's a new map of Joplin's Murphyburg Historic District. It's a hand-drawn map completed by local artist Paula Giltner.
Well, isn't architecture a type of art, and isn't it something, not every building is beautiful, but definitely the ones from the past have so much construction, so much design to them, and so many beautiful aspects, and why shouldn't we keep those around for people to enjoy?
The map includes names, addresses, and a brief description of houses. Here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
Let's start off with our 7-day, where we know our temperatures are going to be in the 60s, but more importantly, it's the amount of rain that we've already picked up. Want everybody apprised of that situation. Even though you may be getting a break right now, let's remember that we do have flood advisories throughout southwest Missouri and for the Neosho, Osage, and Little Osage rivers.
We'll need something to make you smile or maybe a good chuckle. How about an ah moment? This story has all three. TikTok video of a 5-year-old T-ball player in California dancing his way up to the plate during his last game of the season. Adriana Moore has that video for you, and it's easy to see why it's gone viral.
If confidence is key in baseball, this little guy's got a bright future. That's Ben Sadlowski with the Manteca T-ball Cubs, busting out just about every dance move in the book on his walk up to the plate. His mom, Monica, says the season-ending show was no surprise.
Every last game we do a walkout song for each player. I wasn't expecting him to do all that, but it's not uncommon for him. That's his own thing. He's just a goofy guy.
So we had to ask, where did Ben learn those moves?
I mean, I'm kind of goofy myself, so he might have picked it up from me, but it definitely was not his father. I could assure you that.
And it wasn't just Ben's boogie that was a hit. His performance made even more impressive with a single to left field. And while there's no scorekeeping in T-ball, Monica says the comments she's received on social media prove Ben's brilliant show made millions of people feel like a winner.
And everybody was just like, man, I was having a really bad day, and that just made my day so much better. And I'm like, man, that's awesome.
Nice hit, kid. Ben's parents are now fielding requests for the video from multiple national TV shows. It might be time for him to get an agent.
Bet you if he starts hitting about 450 out there, find an agent, dance agent and sports agent. How about that?
There you go.
Our question for you this morning, you ever dance like no one's watching? 67% of you say, yeah, you'll cut a rug in the kitchen when nobody else is around. Each and every morning, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Also connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now.
All right, thanks, Michael. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, children find ways to play in the midst of war-torn Ukraine. Only these games feel more like war preparations. Plus, a plane crash on Sunday takes the life of the crew, but one four-legged passenger manages to walk away. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, at least 11 people are killed on Tuesday during a police operation in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Police say a gun battle broke out between the city's Special Police Unit, or BOP, and alleged gang members. Rio de Janeiro's military police press office tells CNN the gunfight began when BOP units were shot at while preparing to enter the Vila Cruz community. They had 10 people with alleged ties to organized crime were killed, as well as one resident of the nearby Chatuba community. Authorities did not specify who killed the resident. According to police, the raid was carried out to chase leaders of a criminal group who were supposedly gathered at Vila Cruz and nearby communities. North Korea fires 3 missile tests earlier today. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff says at least one of them was presumed intercontinental ballistic missile. These tests come on the heels of U.S. President Joe Biden's first presidential trip to Asia. In response, the U.S. and South Korea launched missiles off the Korean peninsula into the sea to demonstrate their joint military strength. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol says his country stands ready for any acts of provocation. Yoon also convened a National Security Council meeting to discuss heightened tensions in the region. As Ukrainian soldiers fight to defend their country from Russia, some Ukrainian children are launching their own war games. Tina Kraus has the story.
12-year-old Andriy is on the move with his wooden weapons. His 6-year-old friend Valentin is right behind him. 2 months ago, these Ukrainian boys were hiding in bunkers with their families as Russian tanks shelled their village near Kyiv. Now they're playing war to celebrate its liberation. Andriy says Putin and his little soldiers should never set feet in our town again. Our Ukrainians already demolished them. After Russian soldiers destroyed much of their neighborhood, the boys are determined to help protect it in the future. Valentin says, we want to be soldiers when we grow up. We'll become army men. While real-life warfare still rages in Ukraine, these kids have set up their own battlefield to show support for their heroes, digging trenches, deploying toy missile launchers, and predicting a big win against Russian forces. Andriy says, I want victory for Ukraine that lasts a long time. A victory that could finally finish the war, so these kids won't have to. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
I love how the little boys refer to the Russian troops as little soldiers. The war in Ukraine has killed more than 250 children. Hundreds more have been injured. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Jasper County, Missouri judge sentences a St. Louis woman to prison for robbing a Joplin store at knife point. Authorities say in January of last year, Tiffany Madison was at the Academy Sports and Outdoors on South Range Line in Joplin when she was confronted by a store employee for concealing merchandise. Police say she then grabbed a knife from a shelf and threatened the employee with it, and then left the store and was later arrested. Madison pled guilty to a robbery charge and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Pickup in Galena crosses all lanes of oncoming traffic before overturning. On Tuesday afternoon, authorities responded to a truck crash in Galena near 7th and Shimmerhorn. Officers say the pickup was traveling eastbound on 7th, crossed all lanes of oncoming traffic, and then went off-road and struck two culverts before overturning. The driver was transported to Freeman West in Joplin with unknown injuries. This is a developing story. KOAM will post updated information to our website as it becomes available. On Tuesday, the Joplin Chamber hosted a workshop to address the area's worker shortage and pinpoint employee retention issues. The Joplin group called Life Work Talent Consulting spoke with area managers on recruiting, retaining, and attracting workers to Joplin. They say the option to work from home has made it even harder for the area's workforce. Some area organizations team up to give people in need access to resources and potential employment opportunities. Community Foundation of Southeast Kansas, City of Pittsburgh, Kansas Works, and the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce hosted a community job and resource fair. More than 60 area vendors showed up offering educational opportunities, community resources, and possible jobs. Job and resource fair took place at Pittsburgh's Memorial Auditorium. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Drip, drip, drip as it keeps coming down. That's a live look over 7th and Rangeline. The rain-soaked intersection, a result of showers that have dominated along I-49 right there throughout southwest Missouri for the morning, and now we're starting to pick up a little easterly spread to our showers that are in the western part of southeast Kansas. We do have flood advisories in effect for Newton, McDonald, and Berry counties, and Future Track will show you that it's going to last all day long. We'll get breaks every now and then, a little bit more than what we did yesterday and a little less intense than what we had yesterday when it does come down, but in some form or fashion lasting all the way into Thursday. Highs today in the mid-60s, no sunshine to speak of really until we get into Friday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Two pilots die in a plane crash Sunday in Broomfield, Colorado. The lone survivor, a 7-year-old pit bull named Chada. And surprisingly, he only had minor injuries. Courtney Yoon has his story.
Someone found Chada wandering around the neighborhood adjacent to the plane crash and brought her to a shelter where they kind of held on to her until they could contact owners.
Chada, a 7-year-old pit bull, is being called a living miracle.
It's my understanding that there were 2 victims in the plane crash, but she belonged to one of them.
Veterinarian Dr. Ashley MacDonald cared for Chada after the pup survived the plane crash in Broomfield on Sunday.
I know that Chada's family loves her so much, and her dad, passed doing something that he loved doing with her. I know that she even had little earmuffs in the plane when they would go up together, which is likely how she got that laceration.
MacDonald says Chada is doing fine, besides some muscle soreness and a gash behind her ear.
She did great in hospital, was so sweet. I was expecting a more critical, mangled patient, but she was wagging her tail the whole time.
Yesterday evening, Chada was released from the hospital.
It just was so incredible to hear that she was kind of like the lone survivor, and maybe it's because she wasn't secured and she kind of got away from the crash. I can't say, but animals are incredible and they do crazy things, unexplainable things.
And MacDonald is glad to have been able to help the family in a small way.
Chada's a happy-go-lucky gal, and we're so happy to have helped her. It's great that the family has a piece of him kind of remaining with her, and she's in great hands, so I think that'll help their healing process.
Chada is doing fine and is now with her family. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast.
Well, I'll give you a little idea what you're getting yourself into when you step outside. You can tell rain coming down here at the mothership, and really as far as you can see, not only down to the south, but also too, if we look out to the west, we've got another band. So let's start with southwest Missouri along I-49. Showers dominating all morning long. Haven't picked up any lightning, but stretching really from just about the Arkansas state line, just riding the interstate. It's a little easterly spread when we get up into the northeastern section. And then as we turn our attention back to southeast Kansas, Southeast Kansas with that little bit of a break for yesterday afternoon, but now we're starting to build back up, get the easterly push there as well. And what that's going to result in, coming off of the accumulation numbers that we had for yesterday, like we were talking anywhere from 2 to 2.5 inches out there. We'll see that continue to grow. In the meantime, we've got flood advisories for southwest Missouri, for Newton, McDonald, Berry. They put a sliver of Jasper County in there as well. And then we've got our river warnings. That's the Neosho, Osage, Little Osage, up to the north in Vernon County. But our flood advisories countywide for southwest Missouri lasting just until 11:15. Give you an idea for the past 48 hours, the amount of rain that we've picked up. When you see the little yellow pockets right there, that's pushing in excess of 2 inches. The green is going to be consistently 1 inch. And while southwest Missouri, especially that eastern part, got spared a little bit yesterday morning, now we see that up in that 1/10 to 1/4 inch range as well, and even growing, especially as we drop down to where our flood advisories are. Joplin, 7th and range line, 62 degrees. Our temperatures very, very close together. Not a wide discrepancy, no matter if it's raining or you're getting one of those breaks right there, pretty much in between about 56 and 62 degrees. Remember, the rain's going to stick around. Here's what we have temperature-wise, but more importantly, let's get into what we're going to have for the rest of the day, because this is pretty interesting. Despite it moving north to or south to north, watch what happens tonight. It stops on itself, stalls, comes back over. That's why our rainfalls grow, and we're not done till tomorrow afternoon. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, a mother looks to sue Joplin High School and several staff members for the wrongful death of her son.
Got a ways to go before our rain gives up on us, and we've got new flood advisories in effect as well. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Joplin Chamber of Commerce hosts a workshop to figure out how it can address the employee shortage in the area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
You used to it by now?
Am I used to it? The
Yeah.
rain?
Uh-huh.
No. Yeah.
I tell you what, Mother Nature she decided to save everything for us for about a 25-day span starting May the 1st. And she has been relentless with our rainfall totals. That's where we currently stand on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, riding I-49, and now seeing it spread into far western southeast Kansas as well. Flood advisories for southwest Missouri, that includes McDonald, Newton, and Berry counties lasting until 11:15. And everything down to the south right there, coming out of OKC, that's still to come our way. So that's why it's going to last all day today and into tomorrow. Now, I will say this about our rain today. It should be a little less intense than what we had yesterday. Don't think we'll pick up any lightning. But that's coming down in a good clip right now over 7th and range line. So, you know, if you didn't have the umbrella ready, maybe you didn't leave the house yesterday. That's about the only thing that I could probably guess. Whole bunch of 60s on the board temperature-wise. Give you an idea of how it moves from the south. We get breaks. We get breaks every now and then. But then for tonight, watch this thing just stall and say, I think I'll just come right through all your counties and move from west to east. Now, Thursday afternoon, we're finally going to get a break. Then we start to warm up. Friday could be a tad bit humid with all the moisture that's going to be coming out of the ground. And still looking like a great Memorial Day weekend as well, as our temperatures will press into the 80s. We'll finally get some sunshine and have a chance to legitimately dry out.
Okay, well, that's good. We need to dry out already, so by the time we get a few more days of rain on us.
3 weeks to dry out, to be honest with you. Well,
and then we can start scheduling all those makeup games throughout this week.
And then I just get everybody mad at me saying my grass is dying because you haven't fed us any rain. Yeah.
You might just need to take some buckets and scoop your yard out.
That's what it feels like right now.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the mother of a Joplin High School student who died after an asthma attack during a football practice in 2019 is suing the school. Authorities say Caden Roberts Day passed away September 4th, 2019 from cardiac arrest caused by the asthma attack. The football team was practicing inside a Joplin High School gymnasium because of intense heat that day. Officials say Caden had a history of severe asthma, but was cleared by a doctor to play sports. And now his mother, LaShonda Roberts, is suing the school and several staff members at the time for wrongful death. The lawsuit alleges school staff did not act quickly enough to help Caden. Surveillance photos in the suit show Caden apparently hunched over trying to catch his breath. It also alleges he was unconscious for 2 minutes before 911 was called and that the school did not follow its policies. We've reached out to the school for comment but have not heard back. You can read more about the lawsuit on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A Jasper County, Missouri judge sentences a St. Louis woman to prison for robbing a Joplin store at knife point. Authorities say in January of last year, Tiffany Madison was at the Academy Sports and Outdoors on South Rangeline in Joplin when she was confronted by a store employee for concealing merchandise. Police say she then grabbed a knife from a shelf and threatened the employee with it, and then left the store and was later arrested. Madison pled guilty to a robbery charge and yesterday was sentenced to 10 years in prison. A pickup in Galena crosses all lanes of oncoming traffic before overturning. On Tuesday afternoon, authorities responded to a truck crash in Galena near 7th and Shimmerhorn. Officers say the pickup was traveling eastbound on 7th, crossed all lanes of oncoming traffic, and then went off-road and struck 2 culverts before overturning. The driver was transported to Freeman West in Joplin with unknown injuries. This is a developing story. KOAM will post updated information to our website as it becomes available. May is National Historic Preservation Month, and now there's a new map of Joplin's Murphysburg Historic District. It's a hand-drawn map done by local artist Paula Giltner.
Well, isn't architecture a type of art, and isn't it something, you know, not every building is beautiful, but definitely the ones from the past have so much construction, so much design to them, and so many beautiful aspects, and why shouldn't we keep those around for people to enjoy?
The map includes names, addresses, and a brief description of houses. Joplin Chamber hosts a workshop to address the area's worker shortage and pinpoint employee retention issues. Joplin group called Life Work Talent Consulting spoke with area managers on recruiting, retaining, and attracting workers to Joplin. They say the option to work from home has made it even harder for the area's workforce.
If they're unhappy, your work trying to find other employees is going to be even harder. So most likely your internal workforce, they're tired, they're burnt out, they're working very leanly. They used to do one job, now they do the job of 3 people.
Area employers say one of the biggest issues they face is recruiting people to live in Joplin. Some area organizations team up to give people in need access to resources and potential employment opportunities. Community Foundation of Southeast Kansas, City of Pittsburgh, Kansas Works, and the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce hosted a community job and resource fair. More than 60 area vendors showed up offering educational opportunities, community resources, and possible jobs.
Communities that can help assist with those costs for educational needs and connect them with employers, just to bring the whole community together, that we're here and we can make a difference and we can help people out, and that's what we're doing.
Job and Resource Fair took place at Pittsburgh's Memorial Auditorium. Today, back in 1935, Babe Ruth hits his last home run. Happened at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He hit his 714th home run, a record for career home runs that would stand for almost 40 years. This was one of Ruth's last games, and as mentioned before, the last home run of his career. Ruth went 4 for 4 on the day, hitting 3 home runs and driving in 6 runs. Ruth's career started when he was 19 years old, when the Orioles signed him as a pitcher in 1914, but the Orioles then sold him to the Red Sox in the same summer. His teammates called him Babe, short for baby, but his talent was already mature, and he was almost immediately recognized as the best pitcher on one of the greatest teams of the 1910s.
I would love to tell you that it is a story straight out of the movie The Natural, and that after he went 4 for 4 with 3 home runs and 6 runs driven in, he simply put down his bat and walked off into the sunset. He played for the next week, and his health had gotten to the point, especially his legs, that people were intentionally hitting fly balls into left field just to make him run. And through the embarrassment of not being able to compete anymore. He finally hung it up. But hey, one last shining moment.
We can remember today.
That is right. That is right. Our incomparable producer, Ron, I fully expect you to do the exact same thing for Ted Williams, who did walk off into the sunset. How about that? An idea of the Skywatch Storm Tracker, shower activity, it's going to be spotty throughout the day, not as widespread as what we had yesterday, but the fact of the matter is the rain remains, and it will so, all the way into late Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. Now, once we get there, we begin to taper off from west to east, and finally, on Friday, we will see the glow cloud emerge.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Dan McNally and Dennis Kavanaugh tee up to talk about an annual golf tournament to help combat vets and their caretakers. Plus, a tragic shooting in Texas takes the lives on both children and adults. We'll have the full details. And antivirals could possibly help out with the monkeypox. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, a Texas community and the nation is in mourning after what is the deadliest school shooting in nearly a decade. A gunman killed 21 people at an elementary school in the town of Uvalde, about 80 miles west of San Antonio. Danya Bacchus is there with the latest.
Heartbreak for another American town. This time it's Uvalde, Texas, where a gunman killed at least 19 children and 2 adults. Hearses arrived at Robb Elementary School Tuesday evening to take the bodies away.
I'm looking for my daughter.
Jesse Rodriguez waited hours to find out if his 10-year-old daughter Annabelle was alive. Tragically, she was one of the victims. Some parents gave DNA samples to help investigators identify the bodies. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News the 18-year-old shooter drove up to the school with a handgun, an AR-15 assault weapon, and high-capacity magazines.
And as soon as he made entry into the school, he started shooting children, teachers, whoever was in his way. He was shooting everybody.
The gunman was eventually shot and killed by a responding officer.
And at this point, the investigation is leading to tell us that the suspect did act alone during this heinous crime.
The investigation continues here at Robb Elementary School. The school shooting comes just 2 days before the kids were set to start their summer break.
Innocent second, third, fourth graders.
Mourning those who lost their life, President Biden called on lawmakers to take action to prevent future shootings.
When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done.
The attack comes just 10 days after a racially motivated mass shooting at a Buffalo supermarket and nearly a decade after the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
Texas's governor says the suspect also shot his grandmother before going to the school. Officials say he had alluded to a potential attack on social media, but his motive is still unclear. That's a look at today's top national story. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 2 special guests in the studio, Dennis Kavanaugh and Dan McNally. I want to thank you both for joining us because we've got a very special event to talk about that's near and dear to both of their hearts. But I want to start by putting some context into this golf tournament for vetlinks.org because it does honor a very special four-stater by the name of Major Brian Kavanaugh. And Brian was a Pitt State graduate, went to St. Mary's Colgan, and also 3 Bronze Stars, Dan and Dennis,
yes.
Is that right?
Yep. 2 in Iraq, 1 in Afghanistan.
Recipient of 3 Bronze Stars with multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And during his time back at home, during that transitional phase in 2016, he had a vision. He left us in 2016, but Dennis, he had a vision to put together an organization that would help combat veterans. Going through that point of your life, Jessica, his wife, her life and everything, it would have been easy to let vetlinks.org and Brian's brainchild fall by the wayside. What kept you going?
I think just the drive that he had, his vision to make things happen he was a commander in the field, and after the combat tours, there was so much needed to be done that he made it a mission for him and for himself, his own experience, to try to reach out and help other people that were actually in worse situations than he was at the time. And one of the wonderful things about it, all of his peers, all of his former schoolmates and college friends and fellow officers all joined in together to keep, with Jessica, to keep the vet leagues going.
And that was established back in 2016. And Dan, now we find ourselves in 2022, and the importance of the golf tournament. It's coming up in mid-August, but we want everybody to be apprised of it now because this thing fills up fast, and it's for such a marvelous reason. But Dan, as you were saying, the importance of the golf tournament, it is the largest fundraiser for Vet Links and makes it sustainable for the services that you are able to provide. Give us an idea what the organization has been able to do since 2016 for combat veterans.
Well, since 2016, we've raised over $500,000.
It's amazing.
We've helped over 120 veterans and their families. And this is our biggest fundraiser. And it started in 2016, and it's grown a little bit every year. You know, at Vet Links, in our mission statement, we believe that the value of a society is largely determined by how we take care of those who sacrifice on our behalf. And this, we are nationwide, we help veterans nationwide, but you know, we get a bulk of our funding from this community. Sure. This area truly appreciates its veterans, and we're so grateful to have all that support. And it's from the golf tournament and funds raised into the golf tournament that I would estimate, you know, in a year, it's, you know, 20 to 30 veterans that we can provide the direct financial assistance to. And that doesn't count the other veterans that benefit from just going to the website and being connected to some of our partners and getting connected with resources and things like that. So this is a huge deal, and this is also a celebration of Brian's life. Right. And this is a time when the faces are familiar, people that knew Brian, people, you know, from the community that deeply care about veterans. And this is like a homecoming for a lot of people that are on our board because we're scattered, and so this started as just a celebration of Brian's life, and we've turned it into so much more. And it's just a really fun event, and it's well run, and we have a great time.
And the reason they're scattered, folks, is because everybody that works at Vet Links, well, they work there, they dedicate their time and effort, but they're volunteers. So I want you to put that into perspective. Just like Dan said, it's directly taking care of 25 to 30 combat veterans on top of the hundreds of others that Vet Links supports. And that's why I want you to put this on your calendar, whether you're a regular out there or you're learning about it this morning. It's going to be August 13th. At Crestwood Country Club. That's in Pittsburgh right there, and we're going to give you the contact information. Dan, when it comes to Vet Links, there are a lot of people coming back from service, and their families too. I really want to stress the family aspect of it, that are dealing with that integration process. Their first idea is going to be, well, I got to go to the VA, and Vet Links is not a competing organization.
No, not at all.
It's a way to help. How would you describe it?
You know, specialized care, tailored support,
okay,
filling the gaps. So, you know, there is oftentimes people that come to our website, they're in crisis, or there's some type of need that they have that is maybe an alternative therapy, or they need maybe some help with rental assistance or childcare or a job interview or deposit for a service dog. I mean, there's just some things that that are timely, maybe not covered, or something again that we just we feel compelled that there's an urgent need, and so it is just about us being able to fill those gaps, and because the needs are complex.
And sometimes these are simple aspects of our daily lives that we take for granted, that we forget people protecting our nation are learning to do again.
Yeah.
Yes. very much so.
I want, give us the contact information because now we all want to sign up for this.
Yeah, okay. So it's pretty simple. You can go to our website, vetlinks.org, and under events, you can select CavFest 2022.
It's that easy, folks.
It's that easy. And, go to the website. We really want to encourage people to go to the website. We're very proud of the work we've done there. There's testimonials. Obviously, there's links for veterans and their caregivers. But vetlinks.org is kind of the one-stop shop for everything. Under events, CavFest can give everybody the information that they need.
And while you're there, read about Major Kavanaugh's amazing story as well and what he did for our country. Dennis, final question before I let you go. If you reflect back at 2016 when vetlinks.org started, and now you look at the upcoming golf tournament, and here you are some 6 years later, and as Dan said, I've raised $500,000. Did you see this being this important to people across the nation for combat veterans?
We knew there was a strong need out there, but had no idea that the program would blossom and grow, especially with this all-volunteer help. And to be able to reach out here in the Southeast Kansas area, helping local veterans and their families, as well as people in other locations, but something that actually takes care and helps people in our own area. The idea that it would grow and raise the kind of money that is raised to help people is just phenomenal.
And to put that into perspective, if Dennis didn't know how many people needed help, how would the rest of us truly know? Dennis, I want to thank you. I've got some additional questions I want to ask about what VetLinks can do for combat veterans. Can I ask you guys to come back here in just a little bit?
Yeah,
sure. All right, so join us. We're going to get some additional information, particularly how VetLinks is helping people. And once again, vetlinks.org, the golf tournament, Saturday, August 13th, Crestwood Country Club in Pittsburgh. And remember, all you got to do is sign up and imagine the support that you're going to give our true four-state and American heroes. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, some antiviral medications may help treat monkeypox, and that's according to a new study published in The Lancet. Researchers looked at 7 cases of monkeypox since 2018 and found 2 antivirals had the potential to shorten symptoms and reduce the amount of time a patient is contagious. However, study authors warn more research is needed, especially considering recent monkeypox outbreaks. And new research further shows COVID-19 vaccines are safe during pregnancy and for women who are trying to conceive. Scientists at the Yale School of Medicine conducted experiments in pregnant mice, found that a COVID vaccine early in pregnancy did not affect the size of the fetus or lead to any birth defects. In fact, the study showed the fetuses had high levels of antibodies against COVID-19. Those fully vaccinated against COVID-19 who experience a breakthrough infection are contagious for shorter periods of time and have a lower chance of spreading it to others. A new study of more than 170 people found secondary transmission of COVID was significantly less common in fully vaccinated people. And the virus was detected for 8 to 10 days in the partially or unvaccinated group compared to only 4 days in those who were vaccinated. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. A mother looks to sue Joplin High School and several staff members for the wrongful death of her son.
Late night break from our rain now over. We're back on it with additional flood advisories and warnings as well. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Joplin Chamber of Commerce hosts a workshop to figure out how they can address employee shortage in the area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 6:31. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. First, let's go to Michael Islip.
Seeing our Gulf moisture, Tanya, that's coming out of Oklahoma, now moving the central portion of southeast Kansas. It's just shower activity. It's not as heavy as what we had yesterday morning. We're void of any lightning. But I also want to point out the amount of moisture that's being picked up along I-49. That's been consistent all morning long, really running from Joplin
all the way up to about Butler. And that's leading us to flood advisories for Newton, McDonald, Berry counties. Also, too, we have flood warnings for the Neosho, and where we saw that heavier rain, the Osage and the Little Osage with a flood warning as well. Far cry from being over. It'll be sporadic throughout the day, spotty if you will, but at the same point lasting all the way into Thursday morning, because it'll put the brakes on and then move from west to east. Won't be done really until Thursday afternoon. Then we can finally take a deep breath, be done with our rain, see a little sunshine on Friday. You'll notice too, the warm-up begins as we head into Memorial Day right there, as we're going to be able to roll high 80s. The most important thing, we are going to be dry.
A pickup in Galena crosses all lanes of oncoming traffic before overturning. On Tuesday afternoon, authorities responded to a truck crash in Galena near 7th and Shimmerhorn. Officers say the pickup was traveling eastbound on 7th, crossed all lanes of oncoming traffic, then went off-road and struck two culverts before overturning. The driver was transported to Freeman West in Joplin with unknown injuries. This, of course, is a developing story. KOAM will post updated information to our website as it becomes available. The mother of a Joplin High School student who died after an asthma attack during a football practice in 2019 is suing some school staff. Authorities say Caden Roberts Day passed away September 4th, 2019 from cardiac arrest caused by the asthma attack. Football team was practicing inside a Joplin High School gymnasium because of intense heat that day. Officials say Caden had a history of severe asthma, but was cleared by a doctor to play sports. And now his mother, LaShonda Roberts, is suing several staff members at the time for wrongful death. The lawsuit alleges school staff did not act quickly enough to help Caden. Surveillance images in the suit show Caden apparently hunched over trying to catch his breath. The lawsuit also alleges he was unconscious for 2 minutes before 911 was called and that the school did not follow its policies. We've reached out to the school for comment, but have not heard back, and you can read more about this lawsuit on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Joplin's unemployment rate is currently a little more than 2%, meaning most people who want a job have one. Area businesses still struggle to find workers and are now looking for employment outside the area. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more on how local organizations are helping area businesses find employees.
In 2021, a record 47 million workers quit their jobs. And local experts say while the pandemic played a role, it wasn't the cause of this mass resignation.
There's no magic cure. We can't just tap our heels together and fix it. It's a systemic issue. It's been happening for years, even pre-pandemic.
So the Joplin Chamber joined forces with the local organization LifeWork Talent to give area businesses an understanding of the current workforce and help them work on recruiting, retaining, and attracting workers to Joplin.
What we see from our clients is they can't find people, they can't keep people. A lot of times the people that they find will be there a week or two and then they're gone. Sometimes they're leaving a crew because of a 50-cent pay difference.
One issue area businesses have said they face is attracting people and keeping them in the Joplin area.
One of the things that we've heard from area employers is just that they're having a hard time recruiting people to come live here in Joplin, and we all know it's a great place to live and work. So we're just going to give these employers some tools to help them convince others that it's a great place to live and work.
Those tools include things like digital instruments businesses can put on their website, highlighting certain areas of Joplin to recruit more people.
We're hoping that they really get some tools and some information that will help them recruit quality employees to this region and to their companies, but also keep their good, skilled employees.
Employee retention is another issue and something Osley says needs to be addressed as much as the workforce shortage.
You need to put resources and energy into your internal workforce, otherwise they're going to leave you. You're basically pouring money into a bucket with holes if you don't also care about keeping and retaining your current workforce.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
More information about ways to recruit employees talked about at Tuesday's workshop. You can head to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Today, back in 1977, Star Wars opens in theaters. Memorial Day weekend opened with an intergalactic bang as the first of George Lucas's blockbuster Star Wars movies hits American theater. Star Wars saw incredible success. It received 7 Oscars and earned $461 million in U.S. ticket sales and a gross of close to $800 million worldwide. It all began with an extensive and coordinated marketing push, but not only Lucas and his studio, but 20th Century Fox months before the film's release date. According to Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia, it wasn't like a movie opening, but more like an earthquake. Star Wars' influence on entertainment can still be felt today. Yes, it can.
I look at those movie posters, and I don't know if they could get away with those now. I really don't. I'm dead serious when I say that.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
You might be right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer. You have a favorite? You have a favorite one?
Favorite Star Wars character or movie itself? I mean, I'm always going to love the original ones, but I'm a big fan of Hayden Christensen and his portrayal of the young Darth Vader before he becomes Anakin. You know, before, not the youth Anakin, but like before the young adult. Young
adult. There you go.
The young adult Darth
Young
Vader.
adult.
Yes. Yeah. So the movies where he was in there with Natalie Portman.
Hey, to each their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tanya, up on the north edge of I-49 here, just did a quick precip acume look, and we're starting to push up close to 2 inches on that, and that's that direct effect on the Osage and Little Osage river warnings that we got. So we're starting to see those numbers continue to grow.
A look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Grab your character sheet and your set of dice. Today we take a deep dive into the famous Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, my son, I want to watch this. Plus, sometimes you can't help it. First, it starts out with a little toe tap, and then it turns into some full-on dance moves. Today we want to know, do you ever dance like no one's watching? We let you weigh in. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, Demogorgon, Druid, or Doppelganger. Well, there's something for everyone in Dungeons and Dragons. The fantasy role-play game that started back in the 70s saw its best year ever in 2021, fueled by pandemic popularity and digital tools to keep campaigns going. As Naomi Ruckham reports, more fans are now returning to in-person play.
Everywhere it touches, it starts to eat into the bones.
Dungeon Master Sadie Kamori Stager runs her campaign straight out of her imagination.
I get to create my own world. I get to make the story, make all these fun characters.
With her mom's help, the California teen started a Dungeons and Dragons club back in the 6th grade, and it took off.
45 kids showed up. There was not enough chairs in the room for everybody.
The ever-popular role-play game has captivated fans since 1974. From suburban basements,
an army of troglodytes charged into the chamber,
to live events and celebrity competition.
I didn't know if it was just in my mind or if it was real.
D&D saw its best year ever in 2021, with total revenue up 17% over the previous year.
We definitely saw an uptick in our play numbers and in revenue during the pandemic. It really did feed that need that people have to get together.
This New York City Game Cafe hosts regular in-person play for D&D fans of all ages who come for the storytelling and the socialization.
Strangers who wouldn't necessarily get to know each other are brought together into a very fun night.
19-year-old Olivia Swayze started playing online during the pandemic and is now a regular at this table. So is longtime fan and law student Philip Rudy.
The reason it's so popular is it can be a space for everybody to feel included, and I think the community is overall very inclusive.
D&D says the franchise has increasingly attracted more women, multi-generational, and family play.
That one will hit.
Creating new worlds together. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
My son loves it. Not for me, though. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Instapoll and our Facebook page, talking about those sweet dance moves you may have. Check out this dude. give him some walk-up music, put him on a t-ball field. His name is Ben Sadlowski. He's with the Manteca T-ball Cubs in California. And you got to get warmed up if you're going to go yard. And if you wear number 6, yeah. All right, so eventually coach is like, grab your bat, dude. Nah, he's too busy having a great time. Anyway, obviously he went viral with the walk-up dance. I think the catcher had it appears as though the shortstop has his back turned. The shortstop's not even into it. But yeah, look at Ben. I have no idea how long that thing lasted before he actually swung the bat. Great video. Please check it out. It'll put a smile on your face. But our question for you, you ever dance like no one's watching, 3/4 of you admit to it and say, yeah, I can break it down like no other, right there making supper while no one's watching. At least you think no one's watching. KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Also KOAM News Now on Facebook. Be back and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's 4th state hero, technician 5th grade Ray Beeman. Thayer, Kansas native, served in the Pacific during the 1940s as part of the 54th Engineering Maintenance Company. The Tech 5, Ray Beeman, we thank you, today's 4th state hero.
This begins with Gavin Scales, who is celebrating his 6th birthday. Gavin, a very happy birthday to you. He is going to party on in Girard.
All right, in St. Paul, also turning 6, it's time to celebrate for Eden Bourne. Hope you have a great one, Eden.
On to number 7 for Mercedes Morgan. That's a get-up right there, Mercedes. A very happy 7th birthday in Chetopa.
All right, cute outfit there. And let's see, we've got Emerson Woodruff celebrating 7 strong this year in Joplin. Happy birthday, Emerson.
Got the Holland twins, Nia and Axel. They are both turning 8. You get a group picture right there of you two. A very happy birthday as well.
All right, Jackson Galloway celebrating birthday number 10 this year. Somebody's been doing some fishing, I see. Happy birthday, Jackson.
Good catch, Jackson. Dan McNally and I were talking. Haven't had a chance to get out and fish this year. We're going to have to go with you, my man. Autumn Simpson celebrating her 18th birthday. A very happy birthday to Autumn in Iola.
All right, and we've got Mike and Katie Schlichting celebrating 20 years together. What a wonderful anniversary picture of the Schlichtings. Congratulations.
Tanya and I owe this dude just a little bit of gratitude. Wouldn't you say a little bit?
What'd you say?
I said we owe this gentleman a little bit of gratitude.
Of course we do.
Maybe a whole lot.
We both came here for Fox 14. And
maybe like bunches and bunches and bunches.
Yeah.
That is our Fox 14 and CW General Manager, Darren Dishman, and not only a marvelous man to work for, and thank you for the opportunity, but I don't know if you're going to find a nicer person, period. It's just been a pleasure to get to know him and an honor to work for him as well. Darren, I hope you know that we love you, and a very happy birthday from all of us. A very, very happy birthday from Tanya and myself, and thank you for giving us the opportunities that we've had with you. Really appreciate it. Got one more.
All right, and we got Carlene Brumback, turning 74 years old this year in Columbus. Hope you have a wonderful day. I didn't put it on the birthday list, but my son's celebrating a birthday today too.
Oh!
Yeah, he is. Dominic is 16. He won't be watching because he is in Washington, D.C.
You're going to wait till he gets back and we'll throw him on?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Well, they don't watch TV anyway.
That way I can make fun of him for having to, I can make fun of you for having to get your appointment as a DMV. Go up and take care of that.
No, we did driver's ed last year. We took care of that already.
You got to go again.
Yeah, someday, whenever it's official.
Yeah, you got to go again now.
Yeah, but it doesn't always happen on your birthday. It doesn't work that way.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
I understand that. But when you throw them on that way, I can just say, I know what you're going to be doing some afternoon.
Okay.
Birthdays at KOAMTV.com. You can email them there. You can also go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a member of the KOAM Birthday Club. Just go to our website and sign up. Do it now.
Take that.
We read the same thing every morning. It needs to change. For real.
Coming up when the KOAM Morning News transitions over to Fox 14, we're going to meet a pilot who proposed to his girlfriend, got a ring on her finger, not on the ground, but did so thousands of miles in the air. So join us over on Fox 14, and we're going to find out more about this sky-high proposal, and we're also going to find out, I guess, if she said yes. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Jasper County, Missouri judge sentences a St. Louis woman to prison for robbing a Joplin store at knife point. Authorities say in January of last year, Tiffany Madison was at the Academy Sports and Outdoors on South Range Line in Joplin when she was confronted by a store employee for concealing merchandise. Police say she then grabbed a knife from a shelf and threatened the employee with it, and then left the store and was later arrested. Madison pled guilty to a robbery charge and yesterday was sentenced to 10 years in prison. A pickup in Galena crosses all lanes of oncoming traffic before overturning. On Tuesday afternoon, authorities responded to a truck crash in Galena near 7th and Shimmerhorn. Officers say the pickup was traveling eastbound on 7th, crossed all lanes of oncoming traffic, and then went off-road and struck two culverts before overturning. The driver was transported to Freeman West in Joplin with unknown injuries. On Tuesday, the Joplin Chamber hosted a workshop to address the area's worker shortage and pinpoint employee retention issues. The Joplin group called LifeWork Talent Consulting spoke with the area managers on recruiting, retaining, and attracting workers to Joplin. They say the option to work from home has made it even harder for the area's workforce. Some area organizations team up to give people in need access to resources and potential employment opportunities. Community Foundation of Southeast Kansas, City of Pittsburgh, Kansas Works, and the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce hosted a community job and resource fair. More than 60 area vendors showed up offering educational opportunities, community resources, and possible jobs. The Job and Resource Fair took place at Pittsburgh's Memorial Auditorium. Check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Still getting on it at 7th and Range Line, soaking wet, and that's going to be our theme again for today. We will get some intermittent breaks from the rain. I know some of you, especially down to the south and that sliver out to the west, enjoy that while you can, because we're a far cry from being over. Now, speaking of the Joplin area, how about flood advisories for Newton, McDonald, and Berry counties lasting until 11:15 this morning as the rain continues to pour in with the Gulf moisture. Comes out of Texas, jaunts through Oklahoma and Arkansas, and then turns over on itself for Wednesday night into Thursday morning, lasting until the afternoon hours. After that, well, let's all look forward to Friday. We will prove that the sun does still exist, and we will prove that temperatures can make it into the 70s.
Okay. And then hopefully into the 80s by weekend. This is
We'll
one
be there.
weekend.
Memorial Day is going to be great.
One weekend that it would be nice to be in the 80s. And then it
Yes.
can go back to the 70s.
And it's a nice gradual warm up, not one of those that's going to flash 80s at us all, 20 degree bump up and have we'll make that nice and gradual. We just got to get through all this rain first.
All right, sounds good.
My goodness.
Thank you, Michael. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making antipasto stuffed shells in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Morning news continues on KOAM. Coming up on CBS Mornings, how to talk to kids about the Texas school shooting and what to do if they have fears and anxieties about going to school.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, VetLinks returns to talk about an upcoming golf tournament.
Two wonderful gentlemen that we'll have in the studio, and the Justice Department foiling an assassination attempt against former President Bush. All that when we flip on over to Fox 14. Just try to stay dry. More importantly, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.